Somalia, his home country. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman, and we're with two great journalists, Rick Rowley and Jeremy Scahill. Jeremy, a longtime Democracy Now! Correspondent and national security correspondent for The Nation. Rick Rowley, videographer, filmmaker, who's been in Iraq and Afghanistan for many years. They've now put together this film, Dirty Wars, The World is a Battlefield. And it has premiered here. In fact, Kanan was here celebrating the first night. And I want to talk about Somalia and Mali. But let's start with a clip of this film in Somalia. Jeremy, can you introduce it?
Yeah, what we discovered in Somalia was that the U.S. had been for years outsourcing its kill list in Somalia to local warlords, and in our film you meet two of those warlords, Mohammed Kanyare and Inda Ade. And Inda Ade at one time was protecting people who were on the U.S. kill list, and he was an ally of the Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab figures within Somalia, and he's been flipped and is now working with the U.S. So here we meet Inda Ade, this notorious warlord who's working on the side of the U.S.
In an earlier life, Inda Ade had been America's enemy, offering protection to people on the U.S. kill list. But the warlord had since changed sides. He was now on the U.S. payroll and assumed the title of general.
So he's saying that the fiercest fighting that they're doing right now is happening right here. Okay.
The men fired across the rooftops, but it didn't make sense to me what we were doing here, or what the Americans were doing here, in Somalia, arming this warlord turned general for what seemed like a senseless war.
We gotta move. So these were Shabaab fighters you buried here?
If we capture fighters alive, we give them medical care, unless they are foreigners. The foreigners, we execute.
If you capture a foreigner alive, you execute them on the battlefield?
Yes, the others should feel no mercy.
The U.S.-backed Somali warlord Inda Ade, journalist Jeremy Scahill there in Somalia, Rick Rowley filming. Jeremy, talk about Somalia and Mali as the world learns about Mali now with the French attacks on Mali and what's happened in Algeria, and how that ties into the central theme of your film about JSOC.
Right. I mean, one thing that's interesting, you know, we have some people from within the JSOC community whose identities we protect in the film, and we're talking to them, and we actually, you know, 2 years ago were considering going to Mali because we were hearing from our sources that there were covert operations that were happening inside of Mali, tracking the spread of these Al-Qaeda affiliates. And you know, this is something that we're seeing throughout the Horn of Africa and in places throughout the Sahel and North Africa, where these groups are getting stronger and stronger. And so the U.S. is increasingly getting itself involved in these dirty wars in Africa. And you know, we could have easily gone to Uganda or Somalia or Mali and reported on this, but there's, you know, since AFRICOM was created as a full freestanding command, like Southern Command and Central Command, AFRICOM has been expanding these wars.
And McRaven, where he is now?
McRaven is the commander of the Special Operations Command. William McRaven is the most powerful figure in the United States military. He's an incredibly brilliant man. He's very shrewd. He understands media, and he is in charge of the most elite force the U.S. has ever produced. And he has been given carte blanche to do what he believes is right around the world, empowered much more under President Obama than they were under President Bush. In fact, you see someone who's worked within JSOC saying that to us in our film. And out of Camp Lemonnier, which is in Djibouti, the U.S. has been expanding these covert wars in Africa, and most Americans what they know about Somalia is Black Hawk Down, And I think in our film, you're going to see a very different reality, and you're going to see a hellscape that has been built by a decade of covert war.
Is it too cynical to say? I mean, this is the 4th anniversary of President Obama promising to close Guantanamo. It hasn't happened. There's still scores of men there, 166 men. Something more than 80 of them have been cleared, yet they're still there. Is it too cynical to say that this dirty war, as you call it, the targeted killings, are a way to end all of these prisons? Because you don't detain the prisoners, you simply kill them.
Well, that's what people like Jack Goldsmith and other, former Bush legal advisors and national security team. I mean, the irony of these guys who have no moral standing to talk about these issues are saying, well, Obama's just killing these people. At least we stuck them in some sort of a prison. I mean, it's devastating that this is what these Bush people are saying about Obama. That's what they're alleging.
Well, devastating is your film, Dirty Wars. The world is a battlefield. It is premiered here at the Sundance Film Festival. It's just been picked up by IFC Sundance Selects, which means it'll go out to scores of movie theaters around the country. This is just the beginning, and I congratulate you both, Jeremy Scahill, Rick Rowley of Big Noise Films and The Nation magazine and Democracy Now! What an amazing film. Thanks so much for watching this report from Democracy Now!, your daily independent global news hour. We don't accept advertising or corporate funding, but rather rely on donations from viewers like you. Please make your contribution by visiting democracynow.org. We need your support today to keep bringing you this hard-hitting, in-depth reporting.